I'm going to resume recording. So, okay, we got a couple minutes. Hi. Okay, so I have a couple things to talk about once we get going. I got to talk about forums, the next exam, which is coming next week, and about grading it. So, okay, there's a couple extra people. All right. Okay. All right, so I've got 1 o'clock, so I'm going to start. The first thing I want to talk about is the forums. So I've graded a bunch of the forums, and those should show up in your grade. A couple things about the forums. Hopefully, you're doing them the same week they show up, and so then I get the grade in at the time. If you do it like 10 days later, it won't show up, and then I don't know to go back and do that. There's a lot for me to look at. I mean, every week there's like 10 things I have to do. And so if you're not submitting things in the week that they're due, it's hard for me to keep track of who's doing what when. So try and get those. And there's 2 forums this week. And I want to share kind of the rubric on the forum and just talk about grading the forum. So let's see. Can you see the forum, discussion forum simplified rubric? Anybody? Okay, there, yep. Okay. So, I just have this out when I'm grading. I don't have this big score sheet. It's kind of a general impression. But it's really good to look at this box in the upper left and this box in the lower right. Okay, so when I don't like what you've written, it's usually because there's little evidence that you read or understand the prompt materials or the textbook materials, that you've just said something. You just kind of make this statement and here's my opinion, there's what it is. Yep, yeah, that's okay. But I want to know why, and I also want to know, did you read stuff? So good posts they're well written, they're well organized. There's ample evidence of that you've read the materials, that you've watched the video, and that you've kind of thought about those things. It doesn't mean that you've taken on the opinion of the person who's posted that video or of the textbook, but that you can at least account for them. So that's I want to know that you're able to take that textbook stuff, the prompt material stuff, and incorporate it into your thinking. And so when we have a forum post, usually there's maybe 10 minutes of video to watch. Sometimes there's a website to go to and do a self-assessment. Other times it refers to something that you should have read in the textbook. Okay, and I want these things to affect, for you to account for those things with what you write. And so let's look at, oh gosh, here, this is going to take me a bit to do this. Let me try this again. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. Okay, so this is the question on vaccines. And it says, read the material about vaccines and science in the textbook. Watch these clips regarding vaccines and respond to the questions below. Have you been vaccinated? Were you vaccinated as a child or adult? Were your parents vaccinated? Will you vaccinate your children? Do you know anyone who has a vaccine preventable infection? And where can you go to get reliable information on vaccines? Okay, and so this first post here is on the human papilloma vaccine. That's a sexually transmitted viral infection. Okay? That's infection that causes all cervical cancer. Okay, cervical cancer is um, often a killer of young women, so it strikes them down in their reproductive years. So when they're quite young, um, this is a vaccine preventable illness. Okay, um, for women, it should be a concern. The next one is on influenza, and it's about vaccines and influenza in children. Influenza is another vaccine preventable infection. Okay, and that influenza is among the most important infectious diseases because so many people get it. Okay, it's vaccine preventable though, but it kills thousands of Americans every year. Okay, and then this third one is on how vaccines are tested and approved. That they're tested to make sure they're safe and that they're effective, and they go through a randomized double-blind clinical trial. So it has a placebo, and then they score people for whether they get sick or not. Okay, and so this is two vaccine preventable infections, and then how vaccines are approved. So I'm looking at that you've incorporated that stuff into your knowledge base on vaccines. So it's perfectly okay to say I'm hesitant on vaccines. But then I want to hear something to say that you understand that some vaccines cause preventable illnesses and that these are common but serious. Okay, and so I want, it's okay to say that, but then you have to explain, yes, I understand this. I understand this. And I know people who have gotten influenza. We all know people who've gotten influenza. Not always life-threatening, but sometimes life-threatening. So it can be quite serious. And vaccines are among the most tested medications that you can buy. Because we give them to so many people, they are extensively tested. Okay, that doesn't mean they don't have side effects, but they are extensively tested. Okay, and you can access that test data. And so rather than just taking someone's opinion, rather than just kind of going to the internet and Googling, you can get the actual information that's available. And so I want to see that you can produce a thoughtful response. And that's part of what science is that in science we can get to the actual thing. We can ask the question, and we're always answering the question by looking at the results of experiments, the results of data. And so it's not just it's not just all opinions are equal. There's a way to sort things out, a way to say, well, the evidence, there's evidence on both sides, but here's the evidence is very good, here the evidence is quite poor. And so we can weigh that out. Okay, so I'm usually never going to give anybody a 0 on a forum. I'm usually, if I think your forum's leaving something to be desired, I'll give you a 3 or a 4. Okay. And even sometimes if you answer the standard way of answering, like I'll ask my doctor and just do what my doctor says. That's not really a good answer either. Okay, that's an answer of I'll just do what someone tells me. But it might be a good answer if you say, my doctor follows the recommendations of the American Pediatric Association, and these doctors are looking at this evidence. Because just because someone's a doctor doesn't mean they're a genius. However, in science, it's like a democratic process. Scientists vote, and so they'll vote for hopefully vote for the ideas that have the most evidence. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Okay, so sometimes I respond to forums. I don't check that every day. I might ask you a question in your forum. and then I'll go back later and see if you if you responded to it, or if you just wrote it and just kind of, there, it's out there. I'm done with it. So if you write your forum and I respond, it would probably be good to look at that response and write back. That would help your grade. But if you do your forum the last day or two, I'll probably just give it a grade. That's all that'll get there. So right now, I'm the only one rating the forums. Soon, I will let you rate forums. Okay, you can't rate your own forum, but you can rate other students. And then the score people get will be based on the average of ratings. Right now, it's just based on mine. But it's hopefully this is to think about, okay, what is the evidence? How well did this person incorporate the ideas that were in the textbook or in the prompts for the forum? So usually it's something to try and get you trying something controversial, and then kind of how scientists. I'll give you something about experimental results, or how scientists will look at it, or what's the evidence, or why do they think this, something like that. So you'll have to do some rating, which just means reading someone and then going back to that thing and say, well, they have a couple nice points here, so I'll give them 5. Or that's just they're just, it's like a cow in a herd. They're just following along, and so then you can give them a lower grade. Okay. Does that sound reasonable? Anybody look forward to that? You don't have to justify your grade to them. You're just going to rate them. Okay, and it'll be it'll be something that to me it's kind of fun. Okay. All right. So the other thing I wanted to look at was, again, Moodle. So let's share the screen again for Moodle. Yes, is that going to work? Why is it not working? Okay. So I'm hoping we see, does anybody see the vaccines thing?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's try going. Now do you see the our Moodle page?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So in the news and announcement stuff, I will post on that usually once a week or so. And when I post on that, it'll send you an email, and then it'll also be up here. And list of things that happens, right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts. I'll add another 1 or 2 this week. And so you can always kind of go back in there, and those things show up in that news box. Okay. There's also a course schedule here. Okay. We follow that schedule. Okay. And you can print that. That tells you what weeks the exams show up. There'll be pretty much a forum each week. It'll tell you what chapter we're working on. And so that I follow that closely. Unless we get like a Moodle breakdown where Moodle doesn't work for 3 or 4 days, you can be pretty sure if it says this is going to happen this week, it'll happen that week. And so those, that's places where you should look for what's going on. You should have that. Exam dates are circled. They're in bold on that schedule. Look at that. Also, whenever there's something open or something closing, it'll be listed under these upcoming events. Okay, and so hang in there and make sure you check this fairly often. Certainly, at least 3 or 4 times a week. Okay, that's a good time to check those things. Make sure you know what's coming up a week or 2 in advance. Some of the stuff won't be won't show until I'm ready to give it to you, but it'll show at some point, and so those things are all there. Um, and each week, usually there'll be 1 to 2 forums. There'll be a quiz on through Moodle, and there'll be a lecture and probably a movie to watch. Okay, and so that's what we do each week. And I know these online classes, if you like to procrastinate, these are the classes for you because it's easy to forget stuff. It's easy to put it off. Um, but you know, that can wind up hurting your grade. Okay. All right. Then the second thing I want to mention is that we have an exam coming next week. Okay, at the end of next week, that's going to be probably September 17th or 18th. The second exam will open. That will cover 3 chapters, chapters 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that will be longer than the first exam, but not that much longer, maybe another 10 or 15 questions, and you'll get a probably another 20 minutes to work on it. So usually an hour. Okay,
That's fair.
Go ahead.
I said that's fair enough.
Okay. Okay. You know, one of the things I was going to ask, we had a couple people that went all the way to used up almost all the time. You know, usually I was thinking 40 minutes would be enough for that, but there were more than 1 or 2 people that went between 35 and 40 minutes. If it cuts out on you, if you've used all the time, you know, sometimes that happens because people are open and reviewing things and just rechecking. Other times it happens because they didn't finish. If it's because you didn't finish, at least send me a note so that I know that something took you longer. I'm not saying I'm going to give you extra time or go back and change it, but at least then I'll know. And if that was too long and there were more than 1 or 2 people like that, I will take that into account. Okay. All right. So this second exam is covering cell molecules, cells, organs, and the skin. And so we're moving up to talking about the entire human body. And then we're going to head into another section where we cover like organ systems. So this is getting to talking about how the human body functions and talks about organs. It's going to lead us into our big section on function of the human body. So an important exam, going to be longer than the first, pretty much the same format. There'll be some essay questions, some short multiple choice section, maybe a few fill in the blank or true false questions. Okay. Let's see. Because some people didn't finish the first exam on time, I've had to kind of hang on, and I should have the first exam corrected tonight. And some of you may have it corrected already, but I don't know if it'll post it till.
Hey, Alan.
Yep.
I'm one of those people that did not get that first one done. I just literally found out today. I emailed you.
Yeah, I sent you a reply.
All right. I won't be able to finish that. I have work right after this, so I work till 10, so I will be able to do it tomorrow.
Okay, well,
right after work.
I will send them out tonight, probably, because it's already been a week.
Yeah, I realize. Yeah.
Okay, so I will make up. We'll find an alternative route for you to get some of those points back, but it'll take a day or 2 to do that.
So sounds good.
Watch your email.
Okay, I will.
Okay. All right. So, and that's a key thing with this. If something goes wrong, you know, check on the schedule over and over, check on the schedule, make sure you're looking at what's in the news forum so that you're kind of up to date with what's going on, and that you're looking at this week's box, because this week's box will have, that's what I'm expecting you to be doing. And Most of the stuff in this week's box will show up early in the week, Monday or Tuesday, but sometimes, like the exams show up later because I generally don't leave those open for a week. Those are generally going to be open only 24, 48 hours. All right. Okay. So unless you have questions, that's kind of it for me today. I will go over the same stuff tomorrow. I will post a couple news forums in a few minutes. One will be that because we missed Monday, I will have an extra Zoom meeting tomorrow so that some people that missed like it showing up on Monday might show up tomorrow. And then the other one will be on the second forum and forum grading.
I'm sure you say this in somewhere in Moodle, but when does the test open up next week?
The tests open at the end of the week, so we have some new stuff on always. Let's go back. Let's share again. I'm going to go back to schedule, I think. Well, maybe it's right there. Can you see the schedule for this week?
Yep.
For scheduled topics. So almost always when there's an exam, there's also some new material that week. So like last time there was the science and there was a forum on the vaccines that showed up early in the week, and then the exam shows up later in the week. Next week, there'll be again, it'll be part of chapter 4, a smaller part of chapter 4 again, and we'll have a lecture on that. There'll be a quiz on that in a forum probably. And I'm hoping that you can get that done the first part of the week, and the exam, I think for this exam 2 shows up on Friday.
All right.
Okay. And that's, let me look at my schedule. That is September 18th. And so it should show up September 18th. You'll again have Friday and then Saturday to work on it.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. And so we'll generally try and do that. If you look exam 3, that's also kind of the same deal where there's a bit of chapter 8 will finish the first part of the week. And then at the end of the week, again, you'll get the exam at the end of the week. Here again, 3 chapters. Okay.
And I see we don't have anything for midterms. That's just going to be pretty much chapter 3, right?
Midterms, I don't have a single midterm exam. We just kind of go through the course exams, and so we have the 4 1-hour exams and then a final that's longer.
Wow, we're already halfway through.
We'll be halfway through not too soon, or not too far away. We're going to be halfway soon done.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it goes fast.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. We're in the 4th week already. I mean, we're at the end of this week, we're a quarter of the way done. Yeah, it goes fast. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all right. I will post this online. I've got to compress the video and post it online if you want to look at it again. Otherwise, again, send me an email. If you send me an email during the week, I'm pretty good about getting back to you the next day. If it comes on a Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, it'll be Monday before I get back to you. So kind of know those things in advance. All right. Have a good week. Get to those materials, and I'll be watching online for emails.
All right, see you next week.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you.
Well,
It's
go ahead,
individual. They don't have to wait up. So my forums haven't been working at all. I've emailed you, but the forums do not work in any way.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you talking, and I didn't check on it. Let me do this right away. Let me check on it. I will send you an email to see what we can do. And can you just hang out by your computer or check your computer in a half hour and just try? Okay. Let me do that. And then if I can't get it working, then we'll try something else. Okay.
All right. I'm sorry for being a pain.
No, that's okay. I remember you mentioned something last time, and I wrote it down because it's right here, and I didn't do it. So so there's a missing assignment right here. All right. See you later.
All right. Thank you.